Good afternoon, everybody. 21 minutes past 4 o'clock. The UK is in urgent need of blood, with an average of only 6 days' worth of blood in our reserves. Part of the problem is that not enough people are donating. A grassroots social justice charity called Hussain is organising a blood drive next Saturday. It's part of the hashtag Global Blood Heroes Day, and it's particularly hoping to raise awareness of blood donation among people from ethnic minority backgrounds. Well, we can speak now with Dr. Mohammed Abbas Kaki, a GP and trustee of Hussain. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, hi.
Now, why are you trying to raise this awareness among people from Black and Asian backgrounds specifically?
Well, I think it's such an important thing to be addressing right now. We know that internationally there's a huge global blood supply shortage. We know just in the UK in October last year, we needed 100,000 new donors to meet the rising demand. We know that COVID impacted the demand, increased the sort of demand, but reduced the supply. And we also know that from an ethnic minority perspective, the donations from this population generally are lower, but actually those populations have a higher frequency of medical issues that require blood donations regularly. Now, if you can do a blood donation from a minority ethnic community to another one, you have more of a chance of success and help, hopefully, an improvement and improvement of that medical condition. So that's one of the reasons we're targeting. But I mean, globally, there is such a huge shortage, as I've mentioned. And I think at a time of such demand, our runway in the UK, for example, is only 6 days left. If we stop today, there would only be 6 days before blood ran out. So it's a massively important thing for us to be targeting now.
Mohammed, I tend to give blood on my lunch hour because it's just the most convenient time sometimes to get out and spend half an hour there. But what do you think are some of the barriers which stop people donating?
Well, I think you're right. I think one of the things is the practicality of it. And I think one of the great things is exactly what you said. We can do this really quickly. It's 1 hour to save 3 lives, potentially. It's incredible. I think that's one of the key things. And I think at a time when the world is so divided, this is an amazing way for us to unite. And I think at a time when we feel powerless to help other people with, the cost of living crisis and all the other challenges, here's an opportunity, quick, easy, simple, to donate blood. And actually, the sign up is 5 minutes and the donation process is only about 10 minutes when you're donating. It's the sort of 45 minutes which you have to do a bit of admin. So it's really quite simple and an amazing opportunity for people.
What does the actual donating of blood entail? I mean, how much blood is actually taken from you?
Well, so what we do is you would register online, for example, on our website for the day. It's blood.whoishussain.org. And then you'll get a confirmation of saying when your appointment is. When you get to the appointment venue, they will talk to you, take a brief medical history, make sure that you're fit and well and you're able to donate. And then it's quite a simple process. You sort of wait in a queue, you sit down, a medical professional will take the blood from you. That's about 10 minutes. You sit down, you relax after that, have an orange juice and a biscuit, talk to everyone else about how you've all contributed to saving lives, and then go on your way. And it's a very quick process.
Is it also quite useful to find out your blood group?
Well, I think the point here is that the blood donation service is going to be looking at your blood group and be looking at where we can get that blood to and who needs it most. I mean, it's always interesting for us to know our blood group. I mean, practically, when you think about it, how useful that is for you in day-to-day life, it doesn't really affect us. But I think from the NHS's side, if you're someone who is got a blood group that is a universal donor or has a rarer type, wow, you could be amazingly useful for people who are involved in accidents or childbirth or the number of medical conditions like haemophilia or cancers that need blood transfusions every day.
I think in the app, the health app on my phone, you get to put your blood group in if there's ever a problem and you ever get found with it. But what are the rarer blood types that people have, and are they also struggling to get enough of that type of blood?
Well, we know that there's sort of the universal donor types are the O types, and they're the ones that you would get, say, when you are in an emergency, if there was ever an accident. But actually, I think when you have the opportunity to do that, it's really fantastic because it plugs into the various apps and things and lets the NHS know. And of course, one of the things that we do know is that the NHS just recently was looking at 400 new donors a day required to meet the demand. So I think whilst there's an opportunity to share your blood type and do that, what is the most important message is if you can start donating blood, regardless of your type of blood, it will be used and it will be required. So it's an amazing opportunity.
Mohammed, while we've got you on, as a
Sure.
GP, you may have seen the story around today that GPs could be involved in any process in handing out energy benefits to people in the coming winter. It's a suggestion that's been in some of the Sunday papers. How would you feel about that, suggesting that people could have more money towards their energy bills if they approached you?
Well, I think it's an interesting one. I mean, we've been talking about social prescribing for a long time, and of course, we know that there's a huge need. We see it on as GPs the massive demand and impact of the cost of living crisis at the moment. And I think the challenge really for us pragmatically is being able to assess that fairly. Yes, so we need to be able to do that effectively and fairly. But again, it's not something I think many GPs would be against because we are really looking to help people. I mean, even we're talking here from our Global Blood Heroes Day for Who is Hussain. We are a social justice movement. And one thing we've seen is the demand for some of the supplies from our food banks in the UK and even internationally has been huge and increased exponentially, and not just the people who we were supporting previously. Now we're seeing families who were donating to us actually coming and actually saying, well, actually, we could do with some of this. We could do with some support. So I think one of the things I've seen from my work as a doctor, as a GP, is the massive demand. And even from the charity side, from Who is Hussein's side, we've seen that increased demand. So I think, if there's a way for us to ameliorate the issues, if potentially energy, prescribing to help people who've got energy needs and challenges paying their bills, I don't think GPs would be against it. It's the practicalities I think we need to be careful to iron out nicely.
Mohammed, is that something that you're dealing with more at the moment? Are you seeing people coming in and saying to you, look, I'm concerned about heating my home this winter and how that might affect whatever condition you're working with? Because at the moment it's so warm, so most people won't be worried about that, but they are probably forward thinking because so many people are concerned about it.
Absolutely. I think it's something that we're working towards, again, on both fronts. I think whilst right now it's quite hot, of course, we've actually been talking about how hot it is and how to deal with the heat. We also know that there's a looming challenge of a huge hike in prices coming forward. And, from both, again, the general practice side and the charity, know that many people have reached out to say, well, this fantastic opportunity right now with the Global Blood Heroes Day to save potentially 150,000 lives across the world. What we're going to be doing after that is looking at how we can go on to support people who are really challenged, because when we get to October, November, we can see prices of bills tripling, doubling, and people are really going to struggle. Now, how are we going to meet that crisis, along with the fact that we have a food crisis, along with the fact that people are trying to just pay their bills and live in their rented accommodations? I think this is one of the challenges we really need to consider. And again, we call on all governments to really consider how we can work hand in hand with the third sector, as well as the healthcare professionals, to support people at the most vulnerable, really.
Thanks so much for speaking to us. That's Dr. Mohammed Abbas Kaki, GP and trustee of Who is Hussain. They are a British charity aiming to break the world blood donation record. You're listening to